What's up, my witches? It is I, Argama Witch, and we are bringing the art back in Argama with a speed art watercolor that I have done of myself. Yay! In my new outfit, mostly. So I've been wanting to do some watercolor, and I got a new set for the holidays, and this is my first use of it, and I really like it. It's Schminke Horadam or something like that. I don't know. It's German. I can't pronounce it. They're extremely expensive, and I am definitely wasting them on my shitty art. But yep, whatever. Anyway, so I'm recording this using my cell phone, and it's a setup I am not used to. So often it keeps focusing in on my hand, like here, stop it, focus. Focus. And I don't know how to control it. It does it automatically. It's like an autofocus thing, and I'm still getting used to the thing and whatever. I mean, I really like doing watercolor, but I'm not used to it. I've never learned how to. I swear to God. Will you just stay focused on the picture and not my nasty ass hand? Anyways, yeah, so everything I do here is self-taught. I've never learned in school, and I've seen a couple of tutorials, but I don't know. Oh my God. Stop focusing on my hand. Okay, anyways, so it's just me just messing around trying to figure it out, and granted, I feel this set's wasted on me, but my husband loved me enough to buy it for me, and I appreciate it, so you're just gonna have to, like, deal with... It gets better later on. I don't know, I try not to put my hand directly underneath the camera, and that's the problem. Here I'm adding blue for some shadowing. It came out really dark, so I'm trying to, like, wet it out to kind of blend it out a little bit. And I do like the water stain look that, I don't know if that's what it's called, that watercolor gives. You can see it like on that neckline where it's got a darker outline. I really like that look of stuff, and I don't know. It's one of the reasons I like watercolor, but I also like marker too, so who knows? I didn't like how that was coming out. I felt it wasn't the colors I wanted, so I just blotted it out, which is a great thing about watercolor, especially if it's still pretty wet. And I like the way this came out a little better. It's gotta dry and gotta blend some of that shit in, but you know. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got and the knowledge I have. Look at them pretty lips. Yeah. Add a little bit of red to the nose and to the cheeks. Color in some of that nails and the hands. Get some more depth going on here. I feel like the face didn't get as much depth as I wanted to, but I did my best. Also, apologies if I sound super nasally. I'm still sick, and can't remember if I said that already because I'm sick and I'm a forgetful ninny. Look at that, like, angry cat. Such a frumpy cat, eh? So mostly, like I do with all of my artwork, I just keep adding layer upon layer, going darker and darker, and trying to add colors that I wouldn't normally, like the blue I did, and there's some greens and pinks in there. Not colors I wouldn't normally, just you wouldn't normally expect. When I do digital, I add a lot more of those colors because if I don't like them, I can get rid of them a lot easier, so I'm more willing to mess around. With watercolor, not so much. And I dropped a blob of water there, but I used it to my ability to, I don't know. I used it to smear it around. What am I saying? I don't know. I'm tired. Adding a little bit of dark colors in there to try to give it some depth. It's very wet because of that droplet, but it worked out. Now, I do let some of this dry in between. It's not all taken in one shot. This was worked on over the course of 2 weeks. I just did my best to not move it between shots so it kind of would run into... make it look like one big thing. But I think I did all this in one take. I let parts dry, but yeah. I find it pretty fun doing watercolors, but I like doing big areas and blending them together. Especially when I can mess around with colors. I wasn't as adventurous with this one as I kind of wanted to be, but I'm still not familiar with this brand of watercolor. The ones I usually use, or the ones I used to use, were the $5 pack of almost like chalk bricks you just dipped water in, which were very easy to reactivate if you messed up. These ones I don't know how they really work that well in that regards. They are pans, so if that means anything. Don't know. That my iconic bluish gray dress. Just kind of zooming in here because it's a lot of empty space around, and then you can see what I'm doing. I'm laying down a wet foundation so I can kind of blend all of it together. I do like the water stain look, like I was mentioning before, but but sometimes I like to have a softer look, so I try to add a lot of water beforehand so I can blend it better, like I'm doing here. Although you can still see some of that water stain look on the top part, and I do like that, but you know, gotta experiment, see what works for you. And that's basically what this was me experimenting. I messed up a little bit on the dress, but I don't think anyone's gonna be able to notice because I haven't really revealed my slightly updated outfit yet. This is the first of it, I guess. I don't know, unless you've been following me on my Patreon, then you might have seen it. I am currently working on a few things in order to get this dress more incorporated in things, yeah. And that's the hat with my little star. I don't wear my hat very often. It's big and bulky and gets in the goddamn way. So only for special occasions like witches' balls do I ever put on the hat. I love this blue. It was such a pretty blue. This watercolor set had the most gorgeous colors in it. You would not believe. And I just like the way that they were so vivid and bold. And this blue is one of my favorites, and I'm so glad that they had it, that I didn't have to like overly mix in order to get the blue I wanted. Because I always have trouble trying to recreate it later on if I need to. There I am, my dead eyes staring into your soul. Oh, and my wand! My wand has an official design now. Before it was just a stick. But I'd only ever used it in a couple of little animations, so I never really needed to show the design of my wand before. But yep, it actually has a pattern that is visible in this image that you can actually see. I do like this outfit. It's such an adorable outfit. Still going with the same colors. The dark gray black undershirt. But instead of holding it down to my wrists, it gets pushed up to my elbows. And there's my little Saoirse, and I made a mistake here. I didn't leave the white on her belly or her ears. Because I'm a dum-dum. But I go back and fix it later. Yeah. And as you can see, we're not having focusing issues so much anymore. As I say that, it slightly focuses. And I'm just adding some darks. I think there was a little bit of blue mixed in with this black. This set had a lot of interesting colors. I Some of them I don't have to work with. I don't really know how to use it. Yeah, here I am trying to fix that. They have an opaque white in there. And I tried using it on there and it did not really come out too well. And now I'm adding some pink to the eyes. I wanted to give it an accent. You'll see later how well that turned out. I like how the top of the shirt and the hat came out where it shows vivid layers. But, yeah. And that's, some white. And I actually forgot what Saoirse's pattern was on her tail. I had to go find the Saoirse wandering around and see what her tail was, because I couldn't remember if she had white at the tip of her tail because I'm a bad kitty mommy. And now I'm just adding another layer of blue to kind of blend things together. Giving some more depth. Adding blue in the shadows. Trying to get some more depth going on there. Let it pop from one another so it doesn't all blend into one mess. Hey! Focus! Adding some nice red oranges and burnt ambers in. I just felt like I was never happy with any of the colors, so I just kept adding more and more. Overall, I'm not dissatisfied with how the picture came out for what it was. Oh, and they this watercolor set has a gold, and it's such a nice gold. It shimmers. And I have a gold paint that I normally use for gold, but I wanted to try this out, and I really like it. I had silver too, which I used up on the hat, but you can't really tell. So the white I'm using on the eyes there was the opaque white, and you can see it just wasn't really going well with the pink that was in the eyes. It just sort of reactivated it. And here I'm adding a nice outline because I like bold outlines, and it sort of draws away from the little mistakes I made. I left some finer details on the inside, but I did go around and outline things that were in the shadow area, or I wanted to emphasize. Like the bubbles. And like part of the cat face, but I didn't do the whole cat face. Under the rim. Yeah. No, I've always been a fan of bold lines, but anime drawings don't usually. Oh, and I added some to the eyes to make the eyes pop because I should pop. Oh, and that's my Misnon. I don't know how to pronounce it. I bought a whole bunch of these when I went to Japan, like all of them. And they're starting to dry out, but a little water reactivated them. You use a paintbrush, get nice fine details. I used some Prisma color pencils here to just kind of add a little extra, you know, multimedia. I like working with what I got. And sometimes things I don't have, so I have to go out and buy them. For thinner lines that were facing the light area, or if I just wanted detail, a little more detail, I used a brown pen I had. So on here, like on the hat, look at that shine on that, so nice. On the hair I used brown. Oh, so here I'm masking off an area for a background, and what you don't see is after I tear it, I put it on my pants a couple of times to lose the tackiness, or else it'll rip the paper. Now mind you, the whole picture's been dried for at least 3 days at this point. And now I start applying masking fluid, and it's fine line masking fluid pen. I have masking fluid in a bottle, but it ruins so many of my brushes, and no matter how hard I try, once I use it on one brush, I cannot clean that brush enough to ever use it again, even for more masking fluid. So I wanted to try this, and I really like it so far, except there's a lot of air bubbles in it. But it allows you to draw nice little designs, and that's what I'm doing here, all these little filigrees on the border. And all this will be masked off, so when I paint, you're not gonna see any of this. None of this is gonna pick up the paint. And I really like that about masking fluid. Masking fluid is fun! It's just a bitch to work with sometimes. And all the bubbles. All the air bubbles! And I suppose I could just have painted white on this afterwards, after I painted it, but I kind of wanted to experiment a little bit. This is what this is. It's an experimental piece. And it was fun, and I enjoyed it. Oh, look, those are pretty. Alright, and now we're gonna have a time lapse of it drying. And this took about an hour and a half to dry. And I sped this up by God knows how long. Like 1500% in order to show you it dry that quickly. And for the background, I decided I wanted to do yellow and pink because I like the nice contrast of those colors. And I wanted a nice wetness in between to kind of lightly blend them. And you really see it on one side more than the other side. Like right there, it's blended in nicely on the left side. Maybe not as much as I would have liked. Some extra little purples in the corners to make my character pop, give her almost like a shadow. And at this point, the background is completely dry before I'm peeling this off. But again, time-lapse and editing and all that other shit. And I used the back of my paintbrush in order to do this. But sometimes it's easier just to use my fingers. But like here you'll see I'm using the paintbrush, and I just kind of like scrape it off with the flat part of the brush. And other times I'll use my finger because it's just easier to rub. And I don't want to like lose any of the paint or anything, but I don't know. You do you, whatever works for you. That's my motto. Ah, how satisfying and clean those borders are. Look at that. And I'm just erasing my pencil marks. And the harder eraser works better. I usually use a soft white eraser, but this is a hard white eraser on this pencil, and I love it. And the masking fluid went over a little bit on the main picture, so I'm just drawing little filigrees with white, my whiteout, in order to kind of match the design. And I'm sort of blending in the border to kind of make it more seamless with the white. So you can see me kind of just like editing a little dashes and dots here and there. Yeah. And extra little fine details. Little whites. Fixing the eyes. Now I'm adding some splashes of white just because I am. I do a toothbrush splash method, a tap method to get bigger dots, and then some dots I put in myself. And then I sign it with a jelly pen, and voila! I am done, and here it is all scanned in. Look at that. I like the way this came out. Not bad. Yep, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more of this, let me know. I will see you guys later. Bye!